Hello, welcome back to my series, courses, whatever you might call them, about different skills we might use for conductors and wannabe conductors and amateurs. Well, when I say amateur, it doesn't mean like some people might confuse amateur with someone who doesn't know. Actually, I have something I really believe in. Amateurs are the real lovers of music. Without amateurs, there will be no professionals because amateurs show professionals what real passion, what drove them in the first place towards this or that. So what I'm talking about amateurs is not kind of an admonition of, no, it's actually an elevation. I could wish, as an intending to be a professional musician, to have the same enthusiasm as you people, as you amateurs, as you people who just do it for fun, who just do it for life. Because me doing it for life might involve sometimes being uncomfortable with this or that repertoire, this or that piece, or this or that thing for the task of being professional. But amateurs, they just love what they're doing. They do things because they actually love them. And that is actually where we need to be heading. So, getting on from amateurs and professionals things, I'm going to talk about today people skills. Yeah, we conductors are leaders. We conductors lead by example. We need to be agreeable people. We need to be people that really induce people in something without actually coercing them. Coercing them is like forcing them into a certain situation in which they need to do that. You don't need to really manipulate. You don't need to coerce. You don't need to really be disagreeable. You could be open to opinions, but still firm on what you believe. And you could disagree without being disagreeable. It is a very important tool I learned from my mother, and that in some way, I intend to apply it with singers. I'm not a perfect person. Maybe this might have not been comfortable this or that way, or maybe I was still learning the skills to act like that as a conductor. But it's important to learn to disagree without being disagreeable. There's something you want to communicate. You are seeing it. They're not seeing it right now. How do you communicate it? Do you say, that's how I believe and I'm sticking to it? No, there's a better way to go. Give them a time and explain the concept to them. As I say, this song reminds me of this French person. You might think of this or that person. You might think of that person. You might think of this or that way. It's okay to you people thinking like that. But what I'm thinking about is I could want this phrase to go this way. I know you guys are used to it being this way, but let's try this way. Take a leap of faith, trust in me, and see how it goes. There is no only one way of interpreting music, no one way of interpreting the Bible, no one way of interpreting the Quran, no one way of interpreting a person. Do you know that? So it is a huge variety of things. We need to have that openness, and we need to create that climate of openness. So that is what I'm going. It's the flexibility and the positivity within the learning scheme of the rehearsal and the performance also sometimes, because you could still be suggestible by the stage and everything. You need to practice with your singers the ability of being flexible and being adaptable to any situation and not lose anything. If at best really minimize any loss. So we're going now what about compromise, good climate and low standards? So say you are a very ambitious conductor. I am typically very ambitious. Those who have worked with me know that. I'm very ambitious and very meticulous. Meticulous is like obsessed with detail to the last point. I believe that greatness is all about details. That's the difference between being good and being great. But what about them if they cannot do it? Because at the end of the day, we're doing music because we love it. So Patches has some way he likes music. This choir has some way they like this music. You can go in between and find common ground. And it starts by you. It doesn't start by them. There are people who have this philosophy, and it's not positive, and it's not at least adaptable to the modern times, that actually I need people to understand me. I need people to understand my concept. Sometimes even without me making an effort to make them understand it. But that is really selfish, I'm sorry to say. And it is not helping people. It is actually creating a doubting climate. And a doubting climate, doubt climate in itself creates fear. And after creating fear, it creates hate. So I've made those mistakes in the past with some of my early choirs, but hope I'm seasoned enough to notice that I'm not explaining a lot and not communicating. It's all about communication, and you're dealing with human beings who are smart, who might notice when you're trying to, coerce them, push them towards something without them really wanting it. So you better, adjust to actually and accept them as very intelligent people, and then explain them your ideas. This is something funny. The more you try to explain your ideas to them, the more you actually understand your idea more, because you're trying to express it to someone who has never heard of it. You have heard it in your childhood, maybe you have developed it, you have probably, it's you. This is Patches, this funny character, this crazy hair, this beard and these wrinkles. You see that? That's me. But Joaquin might think else. Nicole might think else. You see? Fabrice might think else. So these are different people. To put them together, I need to bring my idea to them in the way Patches presents it, with the flexibility that they might not understand it at first sight, but it is important to make them believe you in a way that is human rather than a way that is coercive. So I say, for instance, when I think of this music, I think of my mother. Her height, her sense of astuteness. Maybe, guys, I invite you to think about your mothers when you're singing this song, and try to go this way. Or think about someone you love. Think about someone you remember. Think about someone who's gone in the past, whom you actually so get so fond memories of. And that way they're gonna do what you're actually thinking of. Because the link between your mother and the link between you and this music is nostalgia. And if they think about someone they care, as you're thinking about your mother, we reach a common ground. You see that? You see what I did here? So we reach a common ground, and that is the most amazing common point. So, and if they cannot reach that, you say them, okay, that's a saying here, Rwanda, which means like, there is no perfect whitish color. And that helps them realize that actually we can want something, but if we cannot get it, we compromise and we go for the closest we could get to the answer, the closest we could get to what we want. So thank you very much for today's session. Glad you heard it, and glad it might help you in your different future endeavors. Remember, you're dealing with people, intelligent, smart people. Even they're kids, you need to explain things at their level. That's it. Let's go for that. Bye bye. Auf Wiedersehen.